Come on, come on, come on. Come on. Oh, God almighty.
Almost a 3-pounder, so.
That one'll call.
Maybe. Oh, come on. Oh, yeah.
That's a good one right there.
That's it again. No. Oh, there we go. Bigger. Thank you, Lord.
And there is our first look of the Mississippi River, looking a little more majestic here this morning because it's Championship Saturday. It's the fourth and final day of stop number 5 of the Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit Super Tournament out of La Crosse, Wisconsin. And guys, our final field of 10 anglers could best be summed up as Neapolitan ice cream. We have a flavor for everyone. With the older guys, Tom Monsoor, 71 years old. He wins. He could be the oldest angler to ever win an event. And by the way, he has the previous record at 68. David Walker, he was on a Wheaties box. When were Wheaties around, man? It's been a while. Then we have some younger anglers. Kyle Hall, 23 years old. Bailey Boutrice, 21. And then middle of the pack, guys, Jacob Wheeler, absolute stud right now. Cody Meyer, Clark Ream, Scott Wiley, so many big names. There is a flavor for absolutely everyone. Good morning, guys. I'm Travis Moran, coming at you live here from the FLW studios in Benton, Kentucky, alongside Red Gold Tomatoes Pro, Todd Hollowell, MLF's Marty Stone. Guys, the Mississippi River is serving lots of flavors. Which one is it going to favor?
This week, it's been a treat, man. Largemouth and smallmouth. I've gotten to fish at this place a couple of times. Watching it from the studio, it's been awesome. There's going to be some fireworks today. You're going to see some frog bites. You're going to see some big smallmouth. This has been a grind this week, but we've got stars stacked up here in the top 10. And the weights are so tight, Marty, I think it's anybody's ballgame.
Yeah, 100% agree. I mean, you're talking about less than 4 pounds between first and 10th. Whoever lands on that 14, 15, 16-pound bag, and we saw that was possible here. That could be the winner today. We come in an event where everybody was hailing the great frog. Well, I can tell you what, that hadn't been the case this week. So far, our leader, Tom Monsoor, he's done a lot of his damage with a jig. We've seen Zach Burge mix it up a little bit, primarily on the strength of a crankbait and a worm. And then David Walker yesterday showed us something that was truly, I thought, remarkable. In fact, he not only caught numbers, he caught quality, and he did it all flipping and pitching his cross-eyed jig.
Absolutely, yeah. Speaking of David Walker, we've got some footage from him yesterday and from some of our anglers that are still around today. As I mentioned, he was on the Wheaties box. Guys, Wheaties were so long ago. That was before cell phones. You actually used to read the back of the cereal box for entertainment.
Another guy getting it done this week, Scott Wiley from South Alabama. He's been fishing in 2 different pools, and we saw a frog bite that happened for him yesterday. He fell down in the bottom of the boat right here, was able to land it, and this fish got him into the top 10, his first top 10 cut on the Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit.
Big day for Wiley, too, because he had some points that he needed to make up in this one to get that championship. And then Zach Burge, he's been all around the top of the leaderboard. between him and Monsoor. He's got a special place. He catches a lot of fish in a hurry in the mornings. He's going to see if it can give him a quality bite. And then as the day progresses, we'll see him frogging a little bit, try to catch a quality fish, and also flipping and pitching some undercut banks. Could this be a prior FLW Rookie of the Year first major national win?
Zach Burge has a lot of history on this river, but nobody in this field has more history than Tom Monsoor. Been fishing this river his whole life. Amazing to me to watch a 71-year-old guy fish with these young bucks, going hard, drinking Mountain Dew. He went through numbers of fish yesterday, Travis. He told me he had 50 bites, caught over 25 keepers.
Absolutely. These anglers really using a lot of different tactics out on the river right now. And before the first couple of days, we saw the frog really play, and we saw a lot of guys actually really bomb throwing the frog. Now, as we've gotten down, we've made the cut to our top 50. Now today, top 10. We're really seeing some of these different tactics come into play throughout the river system. Todd, why don't you actually start us by breaking down some of these key areas?
Yeah, another thing we've seen come into play. When you come to La Crosse, there's 3 pools here. Pool 7 to the north of our takeoff, which is in Pool 8. These guys are taking off down around Stoddard, the city of La Crosse, that Black River, a key place. Pool 9 has been a player this week. Which one's going to dominate? And that was really one of the questions coming into this event. But each of these pools fishes similarly. You've got a dam, and you've got lots of current working down the main river. A lot of smallmouth get caught in those areas. When you get to the middle part of the pool, you've got a lot of back channels, a lot of chutes, a lot of current where largemouth and smallmouth mix. And when you get to the bottom of the pools, Marty, largemouth areas, backwaters, frogging, lots of grass, lots of options. One of the stories that I think is becoming interesting this week is which pool's going to win this. It looks like it's Pool 8. A lot of quality fish in Pool 8. But we got some other guys mixing in some other pools and mixing in lots of options.
Yeah, we really do. We've seen Pool 9 not get quite the traffic that the rest of the pools have had, but there's that potential down there. Wiley's done a lot of damage down there. Clark Ream and I think Hall's down there as well. Cody Meyer told me that at the end of the third day that he really felt like some quality smallmouth were down there at Pool 9. 7's going to be an X factor. We've seen some guys struggle, but we've also seen some anglers go up there and generate some big bites. Jacob Wheeler should have had an epic second day, just didn't quite fish clean enough. And he told me before this day's over with, if he thinks he has a chance to win and needs to catch a 16, 17-pound bag, he's going to run up to Pool 7 and give it a look. The main thing to remember, though, you've got 2 different areas. When you're talking about that main river channel, it's got to be the hard cover, something to create a current break. And then when you go to those back channels and backwater areas, then the combinations come into fact. Whether it's the vegetation, and we've seen a lot of frogging being done, milfoil, coontail, hydrilla, eelgrass, and then the duckweed. And then there's the laydowns on those back channels. We've also seen a few fish caught around marinas and the riprap in the back channels as well. And in backwater areas, they haven't played this week. It seems like everything that we've been around for anglers to be successful has needed some type of current, whether it's a back channel or main river current.
Yeah, Marty, bottom line is our viewers are going to get to see a lot of different fishing today. Our final 10 anglers blasted off just a little while ago, and you guys are going to get to see this final day here on Championship Saturday unfold live for the next 6 hours on 6 different cameras plus a drone. We're going to really cover this thing. Chris Jones is going to track down Ron Nelson a little bit later and get the Tackle Warehouse take on the lake. And then for you guys watching on social media, YouTube, Facebook, we love reading your guys' comments. We interact with you guys for this first hour. But once we hit 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, we're going to shift the feed over to just FLWfishing.com, where you're going to get the most extensive coverage. You're going to get the live look as well as our unofficial leaderboard, so you guys can track along with that. But really looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun one, and someone possibly is going to win up to $160,000 today and be champion of the Mississippi Super Tournament. There's a look at your final 10. And now out onto the water with Tom Monsoor, our leader going into this final day.
The godfather of the upper Mississippi River.
And if you guys were watching yesterday, you remember Tom Monsoor. He was very entertaining during the morning. Some skiers on his area. He was getting a little frustrated with that. And so today, obviously, he was really worried about whether the skiers were going to be there or not. And we've got a little package of kind of how that worked out. And the bottom line is, shoot, that was this morning.
Yeah, but let's clarify this too, though. This area that he's fishing at, it's right next to ski buoys.
Yep.
You know, this is where the fishermen and skiers are going to have to, they're going to have to get along. And I'm going to make this statement as well, too. This place is probably overlooked for the simple fact it is so close to an area that they ski. These fish are used to these boats being run over. Now, Monsoor is just going to have to keep it together mentally. These fish will settle back down. They will bite before the morning's over.
Good morning, everybody. How's Marty doing?
He's good.
Is JT there with him?
No, we got Todd and Travis. We left JT in the doghouse.
JT.
Well, anyway, good morning, guys. Kind of off to a slow start. We got one little 14-inch keeper. But we're just getting going. It is a gorgeous day out here. And I made the top 10, so I'm happy. We're about to get bit somewhere up here, I know that. They might be up on this little reef up here. They might not be out here yet. But I gotta fish this. This is where I caught my biggest one yesterday. So we gotta work this over a little bit. And then we'll go up and try some other stuff here. But I see the shad are flicking up there pretty good. I see a few running. And the skiers beat us to the spot this morning. So we had to give up on that deal. That's too bad because I caught 3 of my best fish there the first day. But we got all day. We're going to show you some baits that I didn't show anybody yesterday or the day before because I didn't want them to know about it. Till today it don't matter now. Well, my friends will say it matters. Don't show them that stuff. That's what they tell. Well, you can't show them all that stuff. When you get old, you get to show people whatever you want, you know. So I got a couple of the lures and the trailers, and eventually here we're going to show them to you and let you get a good look at what's going on. One of the main lures I've been throwing lately is the football head, and there's this Yamamoto bait called the Cowboy that I put on the back of it. It's just a big twin tail, but it's got bulk and body and great ledge lure, great, but most people don't know it. But after today, Tackle Warehouse will go nuts because they will know. They'll see it today. And the ledge guys will love it. I mean, it kicks up a lot of stuff. It's got a little bit of everything on it. I told the cameraman he's gonna have to do it because I ain't quitting fishing. I got it all ready for him to lay out for you sometime today. We got to catch 5 good ones. If I catch 5 good ones, I'll show you myself, though. Geez, we pulled up here, and I made a cast, and one grabbed it before it hit bottom, so I thought we were on. But now I haven't had another bite since then. So there was just one dumb one. I'm not sure if they don't move out here till later. It was 2:30 yesterday when they were biting here. If they're just up shallow right now, we're gonna go look, right? I'm gonna move up now and see if they're up there on that little shelf there that goes back into this marsh. There's kind of a shelf across it. Now I gave Boyd Duckett a couple of these jigs to try here. We'll see if they work now. I told him to try this here because that color has been, I've been on fire all year with that color. Boyd seems like a really nice guy. I don't know him well, but I like what they're doing for the sport a lot. So I gave him a couple of my jigs and told him to try them up here. I don't know if he did or not. I hope he did. God, I hope they're up on this little reef if it isn't too weedy.
See, I'll give Tom credit. He figured out in one day that I had 0 stroke to get him an automatic bid into Major League Fishing. And now he's talking about the man that actually can get him there. We'll have a lot of fun with Tom. But, guys, yesterday we saw him cycle through more fish than anybody. Caught over 50 bass yesterday. We saw him catch some good ones there at the end. And what I like about what he's doing today and he's done throughout the week in this Black River area, fishing offshore, fishing more in that 10 to 15 foot range, every now and then goes up there in that 5 foot, but it's concentrating on rock piles, showing these fish a lot of different looks with different jigs. You don't see that a lot. So his finesse presentation is going from a bitsy bug to a football jig to possibly when the shad really fire up to a swim jig over there. And this guy, to say he's a hammer on the Mississippi River is an understatement. 197 events, 47 top 10s with FLW. 24 of those have been on the Mississippi River, and the 8 wins he's got, 7 of those have been right here on the Mississippi. To say this guy is really, really good on this lake is still not doing him justice.
That's what fishing is. It's a process of elimination. You just got to keep trying and trying and trying until you get to what they're actually doing right now. And that changes every day. I mean, on the river it does anyway. This was dry ground 2 days ago. Now it's all water. So you just gotta run around and try everything. Find one aggressive one looking for a meal.
Zach Burge getting off to the same fast start this morning that he did yesterday as well.
That's what I got.
This is a replay from first thing this morning.
Yesterday we saw him do a lot of damage early in a crankbait. And we look and you see there's hardly any wind out there. Now he's went with a spinning rod and a shaky head. And he told me it's just a depression. There's a couple pieces of wood down there in the tire, and he has no clue why these fish pile in there like they do first thing in the morning. But there's a lot of fish in a small area.
Might actually be a keeper.
We watched Zach get off to a fast start yesterday, guys, on day 3. He came into today in 2nd place, just a little over 1 pound behind Tom Monsoor. This is a place that Zach Burge has a lot of history. We expected him to do well, in position to win his first pro circuit event.
Now we are live with our current unofficial leader right now, Zach Burge. Pretty much exactly how yesterday morning went. Tom Monsoor was leading it. Zach Burge went to that exact spot, caught a quick limit, and really was on top of the leaderboard the rest of the day.
Well, we're in our starting hole. I've got 4 in the box. Nothing to brag about at all today so far. But, you know, I've pretty much about depleted this thing for all she's worth. But I had to come here to start, you know, to see how it would go. You know, I very easily could have pulled in here and it could have reloaded with some good quality fish. But it's being pretty stingy this morning. I'm gonna give it a little bit longer, fish this hole up in front of us one more time, and we're gonna have to make some changes today. Hopefully they'll be the right ones. My flipping stuff had kind of given up on me yesterday, so I think I'm gonna put a frog in my hand and just roll with it all day, and I'm gonna frog everything that looks like there should be a bass around it. Hopefully by then I'll catch me 5 good ones, or better ones. That's the best way I know to really have a chance at pulling this thing off, is frogging. At least that's the way I feel most confident about it. So, give this little bait one more lap and go sling a frog the rest of the day.
He told me last night to come in this area. He was hoping to have a good morning, get to that double did 10, 11, 12 pounds. He felt like he could catch a few good fish on a frog. He's had some good bites on him, but he's also missed a lot. But he had plan C. Plan C was if this area didn't produce, he was going to pull up trolling motor and go down to pool 9, somewhere he hadn't been all week, but he had a pretty good practice area, and he's got a few spots down there he didn't feel like anybody's hit.
I just feel like
now he's in between.
the way the water's
He's
rising
got enough
too,
weight right now. It's going to keep him in pool 8, but that pool 9 is still going to be in the back of his mind.
I feel like if there's fish that were in an area, you know, they should be pushing back, pushing up, you know, to the backs of the little bays and stuff, or sliding in there a little further, or maybe even getting into some sloughs that they couldn't get into earlier in the week. It's come up a foot. So that's a lot of water in this place. Frog bite's probably going to be the deal today, if I can just land on them.
Man, that's some good drone footage. If Jeff McMichael was really good, he could place that drone right in between the camera operator and Zach Burge and do a close-up of both of these guys. Think we can talk him into doing that before the day's over with? We'll find out how good he is. Or either just get it right on top of that Mercury in between the 2 power poles and then give us that view. We'll challenge him. Let's see if he's up to the task today.
They could add a haircut to the cameraman.
Zach Burge, one of 4 of the Bass Pro Tour anglers in this super tournament to make this top 10 cut, Marty, and getting a shot right there at an isolated piece of wood. You know, when you come up to the Mississippi, this upper Mississippi River area, those logs, I've heard Kyle Hall talk to me last night about a stick. Any little piece of wood on this river, it can be a key piece of cover and can hold multiple fish.
Yeah, it really does. This area is pretty unique. It's an area that's just off the main river itself, and the back end of it, the creek splits, goes 2 different ways. And there's a marina back there, and he said he's fished back in there further and just hadn't been able to make them bite. But first thing in the morning, for whatever reason, whether it's the fish getting out of the main river current or the fish coming out of the back, feeding on the shad that's in the main river, that first 100 yards going in and coming out has been the deal. But if it doesn't fire in the morning, he's losing more and more confidence in these fish to keep reloading and replenishing. He's done a lot of damage in here and went through a lot of fish to day 2 to get that 16-pound bag. The hardest decision in these championship events is knowing when to pull the plug on the trolling motor and go practice.
That stump. There's like 2 more sticks right here. And I've yet to catch a bass off of either one of those. But that whole group of fish likes to stay right here in front of us. Doesn't make sense to me why they won't get on that wood right there. It's right here with the current blowing on it. It's got all the right ingredients.
Well, that's a really good shot. You can see the subtle depth changes right in this general area, from the dark being the deeper water and the light being the shallow water.
Almost looks like there's a little ditch that comes right out where that little sweet spot is.
I remind people all the time when Burge, 2012 Bass National College Champion, and in 2015 FLW Rookie of the Year. Kid's been doing a lot of good things in a short amount of time.
Zach catching the most fish this morning, Travis. Not the size he's looking for. He'll be looking to upgrade as this day goes on.
One guy that did catch some size that he's looking for already this morning, Jacob Wheeler. Here's a Phoenix replay. What I believe is fish number 1.
Dude, that's the kind we got to start with, baby. That's the kind we got to start with. Right there. All right, plan's coming together. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Stud largemouth. Whoo, baby, yeah. That's what I'm talking, almost a 3.5. That's what I'm talking about. Uh-huh. Let's go. We can do this thing. We can do it.
Jacob Wheeler starting day 4 with his foot on the gas pedal, Marty.
Here's what's remarkable and scary in the same time. He struggled, self-admitted, struggled to get in the championship. And now, in 17 events, he's made 10 top 10s. In the last 17 events he's fished, and let's not forget, this is an opportunity for him to go back-to-back on the FLW Pro Circuit and winning.
Yeah, Marty, he just won last month on Lake Chickamauga for our first Super Tournament event. And looking, I promise you, the other anglers don't want to hear right now that he is putting things together right now.
No, when I spoke with him last night, he felt like 14 pounds would give him a chance, but anything over that 15 mark. And he felt it was very doable.
Morning caught one good one. Just trying to put together Hessel's zone right here. Wanted to frog and swim and jig a little bit. Trying to come up with 2 3-pounders before I go up to 7. If ideally 3 would be legit. Then you can sort of let your stuff rest. I got 2 bass up there that I'm more than gotta fight. I gotta pick a bone with them. Got a bone to pick with them. That's for sure. I been frogging, throwing a vibrating jig, pretty much swimming a jig all morning. Had about 3 bites. 3 keeper bites. Only caught 2 of them. Missed one, lost one. You know, it's just part of it. You're gonna lose some. You just hope you don't lose the 3.5 pounders, because those are the ones that really are gonna make up the difference today. I know that ideally I'm gonna have to catch probably somewhere between 15 to 16 pounds of half shot. Right there. Big deal. We caught it we can catch it today. And basically all week it's been a combination of swimming a jig, throwing a vibrating jig, and basically I caught almost all my fish. It's just been, and basically what happens is stuff like this right here. You have the current running, there's not a lot of duckweed, there's a couple little places where a bass might hunt in mat, but most of this is swim jigging stuff. So I'll pick this up and come down through those places. And up with these pads, and vibrating, you gotta throw it more. The 1, 2, 3 punch for me, and that's typical for around this area. You know, I mean, I've got a few jigs, flipping a jig, but not a lot of them. And it's just sort of how you fish the Mississippi. You sort of have a couple different things that tend to play, and it's not necessarily about the baits. It's more about finding them. A lot of water out here. There's a lot of dead water, but when you find them, it can be magical. Man, this little point right here, this little turn, should be the deal. Give myself a little bit of time in here. Drag myself through. I'm gonna have to work my way up. Got a couple places. Just trying to give everything a chance.
Now back to David Walker. Still 0 fish, and looks like he's making some moves here.
When I talked to Walker last night, he told me that the key to his whole success in fishing these back channels is every day he had to refine them. Every day he's having to find where these fish move to. He's not able to go back and duplicate areas. He'll check, he'll keep a couple places honest, but he's looking for a combination. He's looking for a combination of wood, laydowns, root balls, things like that are on these channel swings. And then the really good ones will have the small mats of vegetation blown in. And then the other key to his success this week has been the cross-eyed jig that he's using. And what he's found up here this week on the Mississippi River, the bigger the jig, the better the bite. He said for whatever reason, these fish are really keyed in. Big jig, big trailer, a big profile. He said when he went to his finesse jig, he couldn't hardly get a bite.
All the guys we've seen so far this morning, all in Pool 8, Marty, and certainly seems like there's a lot of quality bites, and that's what it's going to take. This is a 5-fish format. These guys don't have to go through 15 or 20 bites. They'll fish for 5 bites. So hearing something like what we're seeing David Walker do here, he's focusing on quality, and that was a key to his success yesterday.
Continues. Waters came up pretty good little amount again. You know, back home where I live at, water comes up feet. Here it comes up inches, and it makes a difference because it's this river, and some of these banks are just really flat, and when that water comes up a little bit, boy, it really changes it. And it seems like, for whatever reason, these fish really move, like a lot. Like it's quite a puzzle. But you just gotta keep looking around for them. You'll eventually figure out where a group of them are. And where I started this morning, I was feeling like that was going to be the case, that because I'd caught a couple fish there. I really haven't caught a lot of fish in a spot. That was a bite, this tiny little fish. So I'm trying to catch them one at a time, which is the only way you can catch them, but it ain't about finding a school of them. We always want to do that, but this is going to be one of them deals where I just got to just keep doing what I'm doing. I'd be stupid to change a lot, because I know how quickly it can turn around. That fish don't know if that's your first cast or your last cast. But I am trying to fish new stuff. Like targets I haven't fished before. Because it seems like the ones I have fished replenished when the water was stable. When the water started moving up and down, or moving up like it did yesterday morning, I fished targets that I knew I was going to catch one off of, because they'd been so consistent, and I didn't get any bites. And so when I started moving, looking for a new place to fish, that's when I started catching them again. And so that was the only thing I learned yesterday, so I'm just going to keep with that idea. And when you haven't had a bite in a while, everything feels like a fish. And when it comes to fishy looking spots, that right there is a fishy looking spot. Like, where do I begin?
David Walker came into today in third place, had 12 pounds 10 ounces on day one, 12-13 on the second day, and 15-1, the biggest bag on day three, making a big move, flipping and pitching and doing it in that Goose Island area, Marty, on pool 8, really focused on those quality bites. And you can certainly see, yesterday we heard the words target-rich environment. You can certainly see that over David's right shoulder there.
Day two's when he really started putting it together. Day one he had 6 keepers, and day two, he told me it was like a surreal moment. He had 25 plus fish that were 2 pounds or better. And he didn't have a marshal in the boat with him. So at one time he called his wife Missy just to let her know. He said, I had to let somebody know what was going on. Then he figured he could update and then let the rest of the world. But that's when he started putting the pieces to the puzzle together. And what he found out was areas where he caught them the first day had the right amount of water. And then there was other areas that looked good but didn't have enough water on it. Those were the places that started replenishing. But every day he's had to relocate these fish. But once he finds them, He catches them in a hurry now.
There's always one spot in it, though. They don't want to. The fish will always get. There was one big log jam up. I was fishing the first couple days that it was a big one like this, just full of logs, but there was one spot in there. I can make that cast.
Well, guys, we're having a little cell service reset right now. But, guys, fourth day, conditions have been pretty much the same all 4 days. We have very constant weather. But the one thing that every morning the bite's been a little bit different for these anglers. We've had new things kind of happen. The water's rising just a little bit. These anglers have had to figure it out. What's your takeaway so far from this morning?
To me, the water rising is the big deal because these fish are repositioned. The anglers are having to reposition with them. But I'm looking at guys like Cody Meyer that's got, and I talked to him last night, he's got this offshore smallmouth bite dealed in. He's making some damage right now. And then Walker, he's going through his progression of being able to find the fish. And then I also look at Wheeler. He's got a plan. And the thing with Wheeler that makes him absolutely so dangerous, he's not locked into a specific area. So everything he finds is going to be right here and now. And I truly think an angler like him can be extremely dangerous. We've left him in the championship round long enough. When you get a chance to put him away, you better, because you let him stick around, and now he's got the freedom to be able to run a lot of new water, and if he lands on them, it could get ugly in a hurry, but everybody's having to make some adjustments.
Yeah, this has been a grind this week. If you've been with us all 4 days, the first couple of days, we got to see guys struggle, and we've seen that every day. Not the La Crosse that maybe we've seen in years past here where guys were catching 50 to 100 and you see a bunch of frog bites. This has been a grind. This is going to be a test of guys being able to stay focused, maybe scrap what they've been doing the last 3 days and pick up the trolling motor and go somewhere else and find a new area where fish have moved into. Tom Monsoor is really in command of this event, and you really feel like he's going to catch 10 to 12 pounds today. He's around enough fish. He's going to make that happen. But if he can't crack the 12-pound mark, he's going to leave the door open for guys like Jacob Wheeler, guys like Clark Ream. 14, 15, 17 pounds on this river is very doable, and I truly believe anybody in the top 10 can win this event.
Yeah, you talked about Tom Monsoor. He's around enough fish. He caught something like 50 fish yesterday. That earned him the top spot going into the fourth and final day, which also put him at our Tackle Warehouse clear leader, which we caught up with him this morning about.
Okay, here's the two best baits I got right now. 3.5-inch Gary Yamamoto Swim Cinco. The beautiful color, white with sparkle in it. Put that on my white Humdinger swim jig. It all sold at Tackle Warehouse, the white Humdinger swimming jig and the white Gary Yamamoto 3.5 swim Cincos. And this little baby kills them all. Smallies, largemouth. I take this and I cut it off at the collar and put it on a Ned rig, and they go nuts over this thing. When you can't get, after you're done catching whatever you're gonna catch, I put this out there and catch another dozen. Today I caught 50, and probably 20 of them at least were on this after I got done catching them what I could on the other stuff. And there's the Humdinger swim jigs. I carry a box full. And they're sold at Tackle Warehouse, Humdinger swim jigs. If you don't have a box, you don't have enough. All at Tackle Warehouse.
Look at that. Tom Monsoor, his next career move might be QVC, because that was amazing. These beautiful color here. It was well displayed. And guys, if Tom Monsoor is telling you how to catch them with a swim jig, you better listen, because this guy is an expert.
Oh. We're about due to stumble onto something here pretty quick. Getting off to a slow start. And there we got a gaggle of women coming. The girls are out today. Go ahead. Looks like you're having fun. Oh, I'm having fun. I'm not catching any fish, but
Tom seems to be a little more friendly to those people than he was to the skiers yesterday morning.
Let's not forget it's Saturday morning. He's up in that Black River area, and this is a recreational paradise too, not just fishing that goes on up here on this Mississippi River, but skiing and kayaking, and Tom's having to battle all of that here today.
Big ones at the end of the day yesterday, so I'm kind of working it over. But I'm starting to think that they don't get up and start feeding here till late in the day. So there was some back here back in this corner in the lily pads. I'm going to go back there and check that next now. Then we might go hit them spots where we caught a lot of fish, but not big ones, just to get a limit anyway. You always feel better when you got 5 in the boat, even if they aren't big. At least you didn't get skunked, you know. Not getting a limit is not cool, you know. It's funny today too. I've probably had 5 little nips. It's like they aren't committing right. There's something, the barometric, something ain't right where they aren't smashing it. They don't want it. They want to eat, but they don't want to eat, is what it seems like. So hopefully we'll find one that's really hungry.
Here's Jacob Wheeler. Another fish just a few minutes ago.
There you go. Got it there. There you go. Not a big one, but would definitely get us back on the board. Number 2. 2 pounds even. Number 2 is 2 pounds even. All right. Just had a blow up right here. If we can get this fish to fire, sometimes you'll find them, they'll bite right after it. Another I feel like about 3-pounders that just blow up on it. They don't tend to come. They just, you're coming back by, nah. They know better. They're not fun. It's not been better. Again, but most of the time they haven't seen every frog. You'll see that.
Back over to
Wish
Zach
they'd come up
Burge.
and eat that little white frog like they're busting on bait.
Now throwing a frog.
I mean, they should. Fan cast this buzzbait across through here and hit these couple trees, and we're gonna get out of here and go. We're gonna go frogging. We've got to do something different. We're gonna get our teeth knocked in today. gonna go up here and fish by this tree. I'm gonna frog around that point up there, and then I'm gonna go through about these last 2 slips. I'm gonna throw a swim bait around these boats and see if I can draw a big bite out from there, out from underneath those boats. I've never fished them before, but man, I think I can throw that swim bait around and maybe get a bite or 2. May be wrong, but can't believe I can't get one to come out of that grass and come up and eat this.
A special treat for all the Scott Wiley fans that are out there. The last 2 days, we didn't see him till later in the afternoon because he would go down to pool 9. But today, he put all his chips in pool 8. He thinks that's where the better quality are. If he's going to win this thing, he believes this is his best shot.
What's happening, guys? We ain't had a very successful morning this morning. We've been messing around too much, I think. Trying to catch one on a frog, and I ain't firing just yet. I'm gonna flip some of this wood real quick. Some of these little drains, and see if we can't get us a couple, and then we're gonna go out there where I've been catching them big ones. See if we can't catch some today. Spend a lot of time out there. Current's ripping through here today. We didn't lock down today. We're gonna stay up and 8 all day, and I was about to run out of stuff down there in 9 anyway, so I'm gonna stay up here and see if we can't make it happen.
Scott's been flipping a lot of the similar targets we've seen a lot of our field doing, but
I'm just gonna idle up there to that tree.
But his fish have just been a little bit bigger than the rest of the field, which has kept him in this thing. And one of the things he contributed that to is he's flipping something a little different. If you saw there, he's actually got a Magnum speed worm. And he thinks that's just getting a little bigger bites. It's something different than the other anglers are doing, and it's something that he uses back home on the Mobile Delta all the time.
Scott Wiley was our day 1 leader with 15 pounds, 3 ounces, but you heard him say the key right now, Marty. He did his damage down in pool 9. He had a place down there where he could go down and catch, a good limit. He did it really quickly, caught his limit within an hour on both days 1 and day 2, but he really felt like those areas were kind of running out of fish, running out of gas. The key for him this week has been locking back up early, giving himself a few hours to frog fish in pool 8. And so change in game plans today for Scott Wiley, making his first top 10 cut on the pro circuit and going for the win.
Didn't you say that he was sharing some of his key areas, though, with Kyle Hall and also Clark Ream down there in those pools as well? And he felt like between all 3 of them, they've kind of split the fish up and maybe did a little bit too much damage for him to be comfortable enough to run back down there.
This game's all about decision making, Marty. And I think a lot of times what we see play out over the course of 4 days is, the guys who have found something to themselves, or the guys who can scrap what they've been doing the first 3 days and just go run new water on day 4. We're hearing Jacob Wheeler talk about that. We're hearing David Walker talk about that today. Day 4, very different. But when you're stuck in one area trying to share it with 2 or 3 other guys, it usually doesn't work out well. There's usually not enough fish to go around for 4 straight days. So interesting decision here for Scott Wiley. Could be boom, could be bust.
Yeah, but we have the benefit right now of the leaderboard right now, and it doesn't look like Kyle Hall's got one on the board, and Clark Ream is only at 2 fish. So regardless of how this thing turns out, the good news is, regardless of how it turns out, 10th place pays 16 grand. Okay, so that's not a bad consolation prize.
Yeah, the worst day for these anglers, the worst finish is not so bad. And guys, it is time for our first break of the morning. But the good news is for you, there's going to be plenty more live action, 5 more hours here on FLW Live today.
Dude, that's the kind we got to start with, baby. That's the kind we got to start with. Right there.
And Jacob Wheeler putting things together. Guys, if you're watching on social media, remember, we're going to be ending those streams and moving everything over to FLWfishing.com. So head over there and we will pick back up our coverage. Stick around, more coverage here on Championship Saturday on the Mississippi River out of La Crosse, Wisconsin. Stop number 5 of the Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit Super Tournament.